folks. Welcome to your weekly tarot reading. Weekly reading, energy reading. Reading for the week. Just going to dive right in. What messages does the collective need to hear this week? What messages do you have for the collective this week? What messages do you have for the collective this week? First card is the Fox. And the Fox reads, and as a reminder, this is just a general reading for anyone who watches this. Hopefully it resonates with you. If it does, go ahead and hit a like button, maybe subscribe if you feel called to, and let me know how it resonates. If anything comes up, or if you want to talk anything through, let me know. The Fox is smart, strong partner or mate, wise teacher. The Fox is an enchanting creature with plenty of mystique to go around. Fox personalities are skillful in business and also make great teachers. They are quick to learn and adapt well to new situations. Foxes are our ideal life partners as they commit to relationships for the long term, and their natural charisma keeps things exciting. Fox energy helps us to stay true to those most dear to us. When this card appears, reconnect to those you love. Foxes don't do well when they slip away. When in balance, magical, ingenious teacher, monogamous. When out of balance, sneaky, unsure of their identity, to bring into balance, partnership and connection. So what's coming up with this is, we're having this great time of connection through new mediums, whether it's Instagram Live, Zoom, all these different ways, FaceTime, WhatsApp, video, so many ways that you can connect to people, even in physical distancing. Physical distancing doesn't mean social distancing. We can still be social and not be in physical immediate connection. And so if there are people that you haven't talked to in a while that you have been thinking about, or people that know you really well that you haven't connected to in a while, maybe reach out to them and reconnect. The other thing that came up was energy helps us to stay true to those most dear to us. When this card appears, reconnect to those that you love. Foxes don't do well when they slip away. Unsure of their identity. That was what came up. So when you are unsure of your identity, and this is coming up for a lot of people that I've been talking to about, things are starting to surface, or they're starting to question who they are, where they are in their life, why they're doing the things that they're doing. And so one of the ways that we can reconnect to our purpose, and sometimes it's hard for us to see our strengths and the best things about ourselves, but those that love us and know us really well can easily pinpoint those things. And so it might be time, if you are unsure of yourself or questioning who you are, reconnecting to those people that know you well and know you best, whether it's family, friends, sisters, brothers, best friends, childhood friends, reconnecting with them and having an open, honest, vulnerable dialogue with them of asking, what do you see when you see me? Or, what do you think of when you think of me? So starting to reconnect to those people and to have those questions if you're feeling unsure about yourself. Hold on one second. I take some hape before I do some of these readings recently, and the hape tends to open up the blood vessels in my nose and just like lets all this stuff out. So I apologize for my stuffy nose, but moving on. The owl. The owl is the next card. The owl says, if you don't know what hape is and you're interested or intrigued, let me know. It's a snuff, something that it's not like you snort it, you more so like breathe it in through your nose, and it helps open up different energetic pathways. Depending on the type of hape, will help different connections to their body, self, chakras, spirit alignment, things like that. Anyways, going back to the owl energy, abundance, clairvoyance, treasures. The owl is a mysterious and otherworldly creature found in folklore from east to west. The owl in this particular deck is the companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. When the owl card appears, it's an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way, either in spiritual or material form. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma and bring abundance into the world. Trust that the wellspring of treasures is infinite. When in balance, generous, trusting, secure. When out of balance, money quarrels, scarcity, to bring into balance an offering. I know this is an interesting card during this time, although also not so interesting, being that there was an announcement from the governor of California today, if you are on the West Coast, that they're trying to uplift the shelter in place sooner than later, and working with Oregon and the other states on the West Coast to do that. So that could be at play with this. The other thing that I'm thinking about or feeling is that so many of us, and particularly in this middle month of April, when a lot of the planetary alignments are shifting and some retrogrades are going to take place in May, and so things are starting to surface for people emotionally that they either haven't thought about before or in a long time, or things that were in the subconscious that are now coming to the conscious. And so that spiritual abundance, that shift in energy could be taking place. And if you do the work to work through these things and you allow yourself to heal from whatever was in the darkness or from the things that are now surfacing, if you do the work to move through and heal from those things, the abundance that can come from that on a spiritual sense and maybe even on a physical sense can come through. And you'll see and you'll know, there's like quotation marks over that, so you'll know what, if this resonates with you, what I'm talking about, or when that abundance comes in, you'll know or see what that was or what it is, or what it's meant to be. It's kind of like a feeling that you're like, oh yeah, we talked about that. So and then going back to Dharma, like this is also a time where people are really starting to discover themselves, and it goes back to the fox energy, rediscovering yourself, rediscovering like your purpose and why you're here. And Dharma means passion, so like something that you're passionate about, if you reconnect to that piece of yourself, that could open new doors for you. Like this tarot thing, I am embracing this kind of like spiritual connection that I've had all my life, that I'm now really learning more about and embarking into, and utilizing the cards to have that conversation with spirit, higher self, energy, whatever you want to call it, and relaying it back to you. So coming back to your passions, coming back to things that light you up inside, and that could be a key into abundance for you. And abundance doesn't have to mean financial, it can mean abundance in so many other things, abundance in love, abundance in safety, abundance in resources. Like it doesn't have to just be financial abundance, but that could come too. The other thing that comes up was there's a podcast that I listened to with Aubrey and Seth Godin and Erick Godsey today about entrepreneur. So everyone that comes to this planet has a specific gift that they're here to share. There's nobody else that's like you. There's nobody else that has the same DNA experiences that you do. You are uniquely you, and your experiences are uniquely you. So what you've learned from your experiences and who you are as a person can offer something back into the world that nobody else can offer. And that can either be your career that you use these gifts to, or it can just be your gift to the world, and it doesn't have to be a career financial thing. So doing that work, time out. And tapping into, your wounds become your strength, your wounds become your superpower. And I think there was a quote that I saw today that's something about like your wounds become your superpowers. And it was either Lena or, I know I'll have to look it up later and I'll put it in the notes, but either way, the things that specifically happen to us that we work through and heal then become our superpowers, and a way for us to then serve others, and a way for us to grow and heal. So yeah, oh, everything is so in alignment. The last card that we'll pull is the Eagle. I'm gonna get time out again. My nose is just crazy. Woo. All right, Eagle. All-pervading power, truth seeker, transforms karma. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong, and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves, and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, eagle child. When in balance, bright, radiant, challenges. When out of balance, controlling. To bring into balance, step into the unknown. And I mean, just everything that we've been talking about and that has been coming up in the collective. Like I said, this is middle of April, moving into May. Cosmically is going to be I don't want to say hard or difficult, but it's gonna be a challenging time. But like this said, you are stronger than you think. And I've talked about it before with the caterpillar and these moments of growth. The moments of growth is when it starts to get uncomfortable, and then it's up to us to break through that, to then get to the next level, to get to the other side. I think of like a video game. You have to go to the boss of each level and defeat the boss, and the boss on each level gets a little bit more difficult. So it takes our strength, and it's always true that we're stronger than we realize to get to the next level. And so it's defeating the boss, it's moving through the discomfort to then get to the other side. But you have to go through in order to get to the other side. You can't go around, you can't not do the work, because it's just, if you don't do the work and you're at the boss level, or you're at the end of the game and you're at the boss and you're like, I don't want to deal with this, you die and go back to the beginning of the game. And in the sense, you're not necessarily going to die, but like, it just, you're going to have to go back to square one of that level. Maybe not the game completely, depending on how you do at the end of the level with the boss. So I hope that makes sense. But know that you're stronger than you think. The universe doesn't put anything in front of you that you can't handle. you have a support system, again, reaching out to your loved ones, to your connections. If you are struggling, utilize one another, lean on each other, and talk about these things, what's coming up, and we can talk through them together. We're all going through stuff, and so it's utilizing our community to talk through that. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves, and stops at nothing to see us shine. So if it's not now, when? It's gonna, that growth is gonna happen in some way or another. But it's gonna get more difficult if we don't address it when it comes up. You know, there are books that are out there like The Body Keeps the Score, and When the Body Says No. There are all these things that talk about, like, if we don't deal with something that comes up, or we don't heal something that's trauma from our past life, or patterns that are passed down to us, or it's thing that we don't want to deal with, that are negative patterns from our experience. If we drink, if we just Netflix and chill, and we don't deal with things that come up, then the body keeps the score. So it'll manifest in other ways. It'll either come through as an addiction, it'll come through as not being able to lose weight if that's something that you're trying to do, or it comes through as a dis-ease. So if we don't deal with these things, then it shows up in other parts of our lives. If it's relationships that you feel like the same pattern is happening over and over with different people, the thread through all that is you. So what is it that you're trying to find in these people that is actually within you? Or what's the pattern that's coming up in these relationships that is not serving you? Maybe it served you before, but you're a new person now. So starting to look at things in a different way and starting to question things, and again, leaning on each other. You don't have to go through this alone. You're not alone. We can go through this together, and we can hold on to each other and move through. But to stop playing the victim game or the blame game of like, oh, it's the other person, or I don't know, just take ownership of your life and start to navigate those rough waters and how we can make them smoother. So the bottom of the deck, the subconscious card. Ooh, Scorpion. Passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. The Scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the Scorpion's heat festers, and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. The Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. When in balance, wild and free, fierce. When out of balance, jealous, resentful, unresolved. To bring into balance, honesty and forgiveness. So this goes back to, the things that maybe you didn't want to deal with that are coming up. If there is a relationship or experience that you've had with someone that has left you feeling burned or just leaves a sour taste in your mouth, start working through that. Maybe you don't want to talk to the person about it, but talking to someone you trust about it and working through being able to get to a place of forgiveness, either for yourself, for the other person, or for both. So starting to really be honest with yourself and look at the things that maybe you didn't want to look at before. This is a time for healing, and so maybe you need to tend towards isolation to uncover those things, but then lean on your community and talk to and communicate so that we can heal and forgive. Sometimes, a lot of the times that there's just misunderstanding, when we don't communicate, that's when a lot of the times people get burned, because we think that we don't want to hurt the person, but we end up not communicating, and we hurt the person even more. And not so much that like you have ownership or control over them and that you're physically hurting them. In some cases, I hope that's not the case, that you are being physically hurt. But it's up to the other person to leave the situation. But if there's no communication as to what's happening, then the other person doesn't even know, but like, it's just so much easier when we communicate. And maybe the person doesn't get hurt, but again, it leaves a sour taste in people's mouths if you're not sharing what's going on in a shared experience. Like if something's coming up for you and you're not expressing it to the other person and just leaving them in the dark, then the other person can start to wonder like, well, what happened there? Instead of it just being blank. So in this time of ghosting, ghost no longer, communicate. Show up, be here for the full experience. So yeah, lots to think about. Community, lots of stuff surfacing. Forgiveness, communication, identity. These are a lot of heavy and confusing and difficult things, but also a lot of light and beauty and healing on the other side. And it's so much more beautiful of what's to come, and the abundance and like all these other beautiful things that were in the cards. So the only way out is through, but we've got each other. Lean on your community, and I'll see you on the other side. Blessings, much love, peace.